Hi, welcome. So in the last video, we looked at if and or, and in the video before that one, we got our introduction to if. So if generally you have not had looked at the introduction to formulae in general, you can always go back and check. So in this video, we continue to look at other interesting functions like the count functions. Remember, these are functions that are good for analysts to know if you're working with Excel and you want to be comfortable doing data analysis in Excel. So we'll look at functions like count, count A, count blank, and then count if. So they are interesting functions. So let's just go straight to the computer and look at those functions. So I'll just create a new sheet here and let me just call that count functions, count functions. And then I'll just increase zoom in here so that you can see clearly what is going on. So let me just put in some data so that let me just say name, and then I'll just take something like maybe sales. So here you can say John, and then we put maybe 30. Peter, we put 50. Mary, put maybe nothing. Then maybe put John again. We put maybe 1. Put Peter. We put nothing. And then maybe put Mary again. And then we put 20. And then here maybe there is nothing written here. And then we just have something like a D, maybe it was an error. And then here again, maybe we just have a number 10, and then maybe a 0 here. So I'll just show you how to use count functions to be able to just understand some of the irregularities in your data, do some small validation. So let's go straight here. Sorry. So let's look here at the first one is the count. So again, remember, just understanding the syntax will help you a lot with any formula you encounter in Excel. So if you have been following up the other videos up to this time, I'm sure you must have seen already how the syntax looks like. So I'll just go to count, and then you can just read briefly. Counts the number of cells in a range that contains numbers. So you should know that this is actually counting numbers. So let's just take, for example, and let's see. So if I go to count here, then I just select this entire range, the whole of that column, and I press enter, I get a 1. Why do I get 1? It's because it's counts the number. So it counts how many numbers are there. And if you look at it keenly, this is the only number. John, Peter, Mary, name, all of these are characters. They are text, not numbers. So counts the numbers. And if we do it on this other side, so let's just say we pull it this way. I mean, remember relative formula, when we pull it this way, here it goes to the next column here, as you can see. So it's going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you press enter, it gives you 4 like the number. So it doesn't count this D, which is a text like 1. So let me just say, if for example I put 3 here, you see the count goes up to 5. So I'll just take that off, and now you understand count function. So let's move on to the next one, which you might use. So count A. So you might have some data set, you just want to check, are there any numbers that are missing, or how many numbers do I have, how many text do I have. Like this one, you can be able to know there's something wrong. Maybe somebody was to put this D here, and then let's say this was Mike instead, for example. So instead of putting Mike this way, the person typed it this way. So you can use this to be able to validate that something is wrong with this data. Now for count A, let's go to equal to count. Then you would see here count A. Just read. counts the number of cells in the range that are not empty. So it is going to check, are there any empty values, any missing values in this case. So you can use this to verify for a large number. Let's say you have 1 million rows of data you want to verify. Are there any missing rows, missing values in them, missing cells, empty cells? You just use your count, and count A in this case would count the number of cells in the range that are not empty, which means that whether text or numbers is just going to count. So let's just go and try that so that you can see. So if I click here and I select maybe this range, for example, let me just select this range and I press enter, I get 7. So I get 7 because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't count this space. Then it counts this one like 7. So it counts every non-empty cell, which is interesting. So I was expecting to get 8 here. It's going to draw my attention and say there are some missing values here. Then I could, if you remember the previous videos, maybe I could go and do some filtering to see what's wrong. But then it has drawn my attention to the fact that there is a blank, there is a missing value somewhere in that field. So it can be very helpful. I can see that there's something missing here, and I can be able to see that maybe this mic was supposed to be this way, and then there's a value, sales value, that maybe entered wrongly. So it can help you as an analyst to be able to quickly spot this this issue. So let me go back. I go back again. I'll just want to take up that filter. Now the next one is count blank, which from the name you might just guess already what it would return. So count blank, I'll just go here, I do equal to count, and then I go to count blank, read again, counts the number of empty cells in a specified range of cells. So it's counting the blank, the empty cells, which is what we expected. How many cells are empty? So if I click on this here, and then I select these ones, for example, this one, and I click on enter, I get 3 empty cells. So because I have this 1, this 2, and this 3, so it's able to count the blank cells that are the blank cells. So you just know that, okay, count A would give me all non-empty cells, these ones, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then count blank will give me all the empty cells. So if, for example, I pull this way, for example, and then this one was supposed to be here, because let's just take the second column and then we bring this one this way. I'll just insert this, so which means that for this first column here, there's just 1 empty, and if I go to count A here, there are 7 non-empty values. So this plus this should tell me that there are 8 values here. So they're supposed to be 8. So but one of them is empty. Same as this plus this. It's telling me that there are 3 blank, but the other 5 have some values in them. And then this one tells me that there is just one number here, this 10, the rest are text. And this one tells me that there are 4 numbers here and the rest are text. So it's interesting to see how you can use this count blank. And then another interesting count function which you need to know is the count if. So for this one, you're counting with the condition if. So let's just go there. So we say count if, and now we say equal to count if, and then it's saying give me a range and the criteria. So let me just say I take this and then I put a comma here and I put John, and then I close this. So what do I get? I get 2. What does this mean? It means that how many times does John appear here? So John is here once, John is here twice. So if I put maybe if I take out one of these John, I get John appearing one time. So it helps me to know, I can be able to count how many times something occurs in a long list. Imagine we had a million rows like this, and you wanted to know how many times John appears in this list right down here. You just use this count if function, and it gives you the return of the number of times count in this range if John occurs. So I could still as well set count the number of times that we have Mary, and you still get the same answer. So if I take off one of these Marys here, I get 1. So if I put it back, I get that. So this count can help you to be able to validate your data set in front of you. Maybe you have some very big data, and then you'll be able to use this to check for empty values where their values entered and where numbers are entered. And then you can count the number of times a specific value appears in a series. So I hope you are able to comfortably use count functions to be able to validate your data, check for blank missing values, check for number of cells that have either text or numbers in them. And I wish to see you next video as we continue this series with other interesting functions in Excel. So see you next video. Wish you good data luck.